Hey guys, this is another Sunday, obviously. You know, I'm always awkward starting these things because I'm like, what do I say? Like, I plan something in my head, and then as soon as I turn the camera on, I'm like, well, that's not working. And it goes, Pheep. But anyway, it's another Sunday, which means another hymn backstory. And as you can see from the title, it's I'll Fly Away. Like I told you last week, I have to really think about pronouncing the word I'll because I'm like, my Southern will really come out. So, but yeah, and I hope y'all had a good week. It was a kind of great, well, it was crazy the last couple of days, but overall it was a good week. I hope y'all's was as well. And y'all's is a word here, especially here in South Alabama. So it's a word. But anyway, yeah, it's been a crazy week, but that's all right. So we are just going to get into the backstory today, and I'm using the same book as I used last time, Stories Behind the Songs and Hymns About Heaven by Ace Collins. It's published by Baker Books Publishing. So yeah, this I've had it for a while. Like I said, it's just taken me a while to really get used to the format and to be able to tell you like the different backstories that are in this book because they're like it's almost set up like chapters in a book. But anyway, so I'll Fly Away was written by Albert Brumley. He was born in 1905, so right at the turn of the century. You know, and pretty much that was a time where our country had probably the most changes it had had thus far. Because you had the Industrial Revolution going at the time. Um, let's see, I think if I remember history right, automobiles. Ford was working on the automobile. Telephones. Alexander Graham Bell was working on the telephone, which had actually become more common, especially for the richer folks, but some of the I don't want to say lower class, but I guess middle and lower class were starting to get telephones because the Industrial Revolution created more jobs, which created more wealth. There were less needy, less unfortunate, or fewer unfortunate people. So pretty neat. However, there was one invention that Albert Brumley was really curious about. Well, I guess everyone at the time was very curious about, and that was the airplane. Um, you know, Nowadays, 2023, we think about airplanes and we're like, oh yeah, look, there's an airplane, cool, and we go about our day. But back in the 1900s, 1920s, that was still fairly new. So people would just sit there or stand there if they were going about their day and look up and be like, oh, that's so cool to be able to fly. Like, me had never flown. The Wright brothers had created a successful airplane, so pretty neat. Brumley's thoughts whenever he saw an airplane was that the people who were the most free in the world were the ones who could just jump into a plane and leave everything behind, kind of defy gravity in a sense. I did not mean to quote that song from the popular musical, but oh well. Excuse me. Sorry, my heart started racing. Weird. Oh well. and I lost train of my thoughts because of it. Oh well. Anyway, Albert Brumley, he wanted to get into music because he thought, let's see, where does it say that? You see, he believed, excuse me, let's see, where'd it go? I'm sorry. I'm having to flip through. Let's see. He believed that basically he believed that the happiest people were the ones who used their music to glorify the Lord, and and that joy, the joy of the Lord, should reflect in the songs and then hymns and everything that we did. So he went to the Hartford Music Institute, which was a school that was devoted to teaching creative and talented people more music and be able to compose. And he decided, yeah, that's what I want to do. So he went there. He was a little naive because he grew up in a little old farm in in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, in Oklahoma, and just lived his life. He wasn't really street smart, but he was book and Bible smart. But yeah, it was quite the experience for him moving somewhere else for school. And that's pretty much how I was. Like, I was homeschooled from K4 through 12th grade. Like, college was a new, interesting opportunity when I first went there back in 2015. Yeah, so I graduated 2019, so about 4 years ago. But yeah, it was quite the experience when I first went there. And going back to the airplanes, Bromley was fascinated by anything that flew. Airplanes, birds, and even angels. He pretty much studied angels every time he read the Bible. He's like, let's see. This is a pretty interesting sentence. The imagery of angels and their connection to heaven inspired and shaped many of the more than 500 songs he composed during his 72 years of life. Now, Bromley had decided to go to Hartford Music Institute to study under Bartlett. Let's see. Does it give his first name? I don't see a first name. But Mr. Bartlett, because Bartlett was the #1 gospel music voice musician during that time. He believed that he can really grow his compositions under Bartlett's teachings. Now, at the end of the school year, as a lot of music schools, or even if you go to a college and you're a music major, there's like an end of the year, like not really recital, but I cannot remember the right word for it. Oh gosh. Panel, whatever, to show what you learned, and like that's your final in there. Like, before I switched to office administration, I did have to take, I cannot remember what PCC called it, but pretty much I had to go in front of almost all of the music faculty and play a classical piece, a hymn, and a sacred hymn arrangement. And the hymn arrangement had to be memorized. My teacher didn't tell me that until 2 weeks before the final. So I pulled it off. Kind of. But anyway, so they had to do that, and part of that assignment was to compose a original gospel song. He thought, yes, this is it. I've made it. Like, this is gonna be the next number one top gospel song. But when the other students heard, I can hear them singing over there, they laughed at him. They pretty much all agreed that they felt it was just a reworked version of one of Eugene Bartlett's songs. Now, Brumley, after hearing that, he felt hurt, he felt like a failure, embarrassed, he was humbled. So he packed his bags and moved back home on to the farm, originally just for the summer, but then he ended up staying there. Everyone thought he was going back, but he's like, no, I can't. Now, the Lord had really placed music into Albert Bromley's life, and when the Lord places something in your life, on your heart, you can't run from it, no matter how hard you try. And he's working fields. He still loves music. He can't get away from that pool, but he's like, no, I'm not going back to school. Now, one day, there was a fall day, but it was still very hot, like it can be here in the South in the fall. But he decided, or he just started singing a song from, let's see, Vernon Dalhart. Now that it's not really important to know about Vernon Dalhart. He was, but Dalhart had written a song called "The Prisoner's Song" when after visiting a prison, and let's see, hold on. Let's see, nope. Dalhart was a vocalist who sang "The Prisoner's Song" that was written by Robert Massey, who wrote this song from the point of view of someone facing life without parole in prison. In this song, a bird lands in the prison yard and takes flight over the walls of the prison, which caused the prisoner to wish he had wings as well so that he could just fly away. The recording of this was considered one of the best country music hits. Now, as Albert Brumley sang this song, he kind of stopped. He listened, or he not listened. He stopped, he meditated, he was like, okay, I think I'm going to try to rework this song into a more joyful song. Because, if you have the Lord, you should be joyful. Now, it took him years upon years. Every time he saw a bird fly, he stopped and was going to work on this song, this reworked version of the Prisoner's Song. But it always ended in frustration. Like, he never could finish it right. You see, he, in a sense, this idea remained grounded for a long time. He soon realized that the only way he would be able to finish this project and have a good opportunity was to go back to Eugene Bartlett and ask and beg for a second chance. In 1929, Brumley wrote letters and requested and begged for readmittance to the Hartford Music Institute. He didn't have enough money for tuition, room, board, or food, really, but Bartlett still believed that Brumley could Brumley's talents could be trained and could be used in a good way that glorified God. So Bartlett offered free schooling in exchange for Brumley to sing in the Hartford Quartet and travel across the South selling catalogs and magazines and songbooks. Now this old farmer boy, he jumped at that opportunity. I mean, free schooling just for just singing and selling a few books. Let's go. Let's do it. For 6 years, Brumley worked for Bartlett. Let's see. Brumley was able to create original material. He was able to get to a point where he was confident enough to where he wanted to pull out his almost long forgotten project. So about a decade, 10 years after he sang the Prisoner Song in a cotton field, Brumley's idea finally took wings and was finished. Now, Bartlett had a publishing company, Eugene Bartlett, Hartford Publishing, and he put that hymn, I'll Fly Away, in the newest hymnal that he had published. But that wasn't the end of the story. Now, since Brumley was working for Bartlett, he didn't have the rights to the royalties this song made. Now, within months of it being published in the hymnal, I'll Fly Away became one of the top-selling hymns in Hartford Publishing's catalog. Many people recorded it, many people sang it, used it in church, but Brumley couldn't get any of the money off of it because he was working for Bartlett. Now, the neat thing with I'll Fly Away's incredible success, Bartlett Publishing released Brumley's first song, I Can Hear Them Singing Over There. The royalties that this hymn provided allowed Brumley to make his own publishing company and to write full time. Said, let's see, turn your radio on, I'll meet you in the morning, if we never meet again, I just steal away and pray, are several of the other hymns or other songs that Albert Brumley wrote. And it was pretty much pushed Brumley ahead of Bartlett as the number one gospel musician in the nation at the time. So yeah. Well, and then it ends with saying, though Bartlett would eventually make hundreds of thousands of dollars off I'll Fly Away, he never complained about his business deal with his mentor. After all, Bartlett had not only offered the way out of a life Brumley considered a prison, but also taught him the skills necessary to take an idea that was going nowhere and give it wings. So, pretty neat. And Albert Brumley wrote a autobiography that he wrote with Kay Hively titled I'll Fly Away, which was published by Mountaineer Books in 1990. So if you want to know more about that, you can pick up the book I'll Fly Away by Albert Brumley and Kay Hively. So now that one a little longer due to me losing my train of thought a couple of times, but here we are. Now we get to play it. upbeat for this week. But yeah, that was another request by Jacob, one of my Facebook friends. Now I'm still am looking for the Because He Lives backstory. I just don't know if there is one. But either way, I will do a video soon. At least just playing that song. Because I do love playing it. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. Get you a little nap if you can. And want to. Like I would like to, but I really can't because if I take a nap, I will oversleep and then I won't be able to sleep tonight. But anyway, so yeah, so pretty much that's what I hope for you. I lost my train of thought again. I'm tired, didn't get to sleep until about 1 o'clock this morning, so that's why I'm a little crazy. Anyway, hope you have a good rest of your Sunday, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!